We've all got our own little rules. Sometimes it's advice in our own head that we give ourselves, usually because it's a weakness of ours. We're aware of it. So you just reiterate that bit of advice because you know you need that motivation or encouragement or reminders. Our numbskulls are at work for those that used to read the Beano. But one of mine is don't be afraid to change your mind, because believe it or not, I used to be very, very stubborn. Now, admittedly, I still can be quite stubborn, but I'm nowhere near as bad as I used to be, because I strongly believe when you get new information, when you get new data, reevaluate and don't be afraid to change your mind. And actually, changing your mind is quite a powerful ability to have. Now, I had to learn the hard way, but I do strongly believe what I've just said is quite a strong introduction, isn't it? It's quite an important one. I feel like I'm way too disappointed now, but I've changed my mind on something, and that is the likelihood of Graham Potter getting sacked today. That's what I'm going to discuss. If you're new to Hammers Chat, please do subscribe and also drop a like on the video as well by clicking the thumbs up button. Both things are free, takes you 2 seconds, helps out the channel. Massive thank you to all the support recently. So, new information last night, which was, well, it came out via pictures of Nuno smoking in the area that David Sullivan lives. That was the information we were given, but it's quite important information. What it does is it triggers the domino effect, which is those who have contacts start reaching out to the contacts, say, hang on a minute, have we seen this picture? Is this true? Sometimes those contacts then contact their contacts, so on and so forth. But eventually, the information gets funneled back to us via people who know people. That process happens with everything, whether it's a transfer rumor, whatever it is regarding your football club. That's what happens. I think it happens at most football clubs as well. So that picture of Nuno in the area of David Sullivan's gaff outside a cafe having a cigarette, that came out, and there was 3 photos as well, which makes it a bit more believable and reliable that it was taken recently. And then people reached out to people, and it came back. Basically said, yep. He met with Karren Brady on Thursday, and he met David Sullivan yesterday. He was around David Sullivan's mansion yesterday. So, it depends on if you believe it. I do believe this information, however, because it goes hand in hand with what this West Ham board do. They meet other managers whilst they're unsure of the current manager. They've always done it. That's how Graham Potter got the job. Tim Steidten met up with Graham Potter whilst we had Lopetegui. Lopetegui met the West Ham board when David Moyes was still technically the West Ham manager. Now, people knew that his contract was expiring and he wasn't going to be signing a new one or getting a new one. So it wasn't as bad then, but they were still meeting Lopetegui whilst David Moyes was the manager of West Ham United. They met David Moyes when Pellegrini was manager. They met Pellegrini when Moyes was manager. They met Moyes when Slaven Bilic was manager. It just happened. It happens in football all the time. It's nothing new. It's nothing unusual. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. But what you have to do is accept it. So when this picture of Nuno came out, it was very believable that Sullivan did go meet him, because actually, why wouldn't he? And what I will say, I'm kind of glad they have, because it reassures me that they're not happy with what Graham Potter's doing, that they are quite worried, and they are prepared to make a change. My concern was, and this is where I've changed my mind, my concern was if we get beat today by a goal or 2, they'll keep Graham Potter. If we draw today, they'll definitely keep Graham Potter. If we win, oh, absolutely. Now, that part haven't changed my mind on. I think if we win, I'm not sure they'll sack him. But I think if we lose today, I think he's gone. That's where I've changed my mind. I thought it was going to take a bit of a hiding from Palace for him to get the sack today. I think just any defeat out. And I do wonder what's going to happen if we draw. Previously, I've always been of the mindset that they'll just continue to kick the can down the road. And if we lose against Everton, then they'll sack him and appoint Nuno. But I wonder what happens if we draw today. Part of me thinks they'll sack him. And I'll tell you why. And this is based on an assumption here. On an assumption, which I think is a fair one to make, that they're happy with Nuno and they're impressed with Nuno and they're willing to hire Nuno. With that assumption in place, he's not going to be out of work for long. He's going to be out of work for as long as he wants to be. If he wants to jump back into management immediately, and it looks like he does, he will have a job very, very quickly. Whether it's a Premier League one or he might go to Portugal or whatever, there will be jobs and there will be clubs that want him now. And I think there will be some Premier League jobs coming up very, very soon. I would not be surprised if the Leeds United job is up for grabs very, very soon. I don't think they trust Farke. I don't think he's doing a great job. They've scored 1 goal all season, and it was from the penalty spot. They've not scored a goal from open play. Playing Wolves today, quite an important fixture for them. They lose that, I wouldn't be surprised if Farke gets sacked. And if that's the case, could you see Leeds going for Nuno? I absolutely could. Why would they not? Because they'd be going for Nuno for the same reasons that we're going for Nuno. He's going to keep us in the Premier League, right? That's why we've approached Nuno. So I think maybe even a draw out. And this is a big day for West Ham. It's match day. So it should only be about the 90 minutes on the pitch. It should be, right, we're playing this team today. Let's hope we get the win. Let's go. It doesn't really feel like that today because there's 3 things happening. 1, we've got the protests before the game. That's big. 2, we've got the match. And 3, we may be sacking Graham Potter this evening. It's a huge day for West Ham United. In regards to Nuno, actually, before I do that, this video is sponsored by Surfshark. Now, you may need a VPN. You may want a VPN. Google the benefits of a VPN. I never used to have one, and then I required one. Gonzo said, I use Surfshark, so I signed up to Surfshark. Gonzo influenced me. That's why I use Surfshark, and that's why I got a VPN 3-4 years ago now, because of Gonzo. But I love it. And the reason I love a VPN is because I can change the location of stuff. And it's very, very handy. At times, I will want to access something that's not available in my country. So I change the location of my device and I'm able to access content in that country. I think it's brilliant. I think it's absolutely fabulous. It's something that I take advantage of quite often as well. So if you require a VPN for security purposes, or you require a VPN so you can change your location, access content that's available in other countries but not yours, then consider joining Surfshark. And we've got an offer for you where you get 4 months free. You go to surfshark.com/hammerschat. Now, the link's in the description below. But if you just put into your URL bar, surfshark.com/hammerschat. It's very important you use that URL because it will give you the 4 months free. And once you sign up, that's when you can download the app, you can sign in, and then you can change the location of your device. Plus, you can do it on more than one device. You get unlimited devices. One account, unlimited devices. And if you change your mind, don't worry. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee as well. So if you sign up today, in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks' time, but not 31 days' time, you think, I wish I never got Surfshark. I'm regretting that. Wish I didn't bother. That's fine. You just go into your account, you cancel it, and you get a full money back guarantee with Surfshark. I've tried it myself. I signed up with Mrs. Geo and cancelled it to make sure that money back guarantee is a money back guarantee. It is. It 100% is. I've checked it. Surfshark.com/hammerschat. And if you want to know the benefits of a VPN, apart from changing the location, just Google it. Benefits of VPN, and you'll see how it helps you out in terms of security, or an additional layer of security for your device, which has a lot of private information on it these days. Anyway, back to Potter, back to Nuno. So I think if we lose, I think he's gone. Draw, possibly. In regards to Nuno, I am where I was when he was first linked earlier on this week. I think if you're watching this, I mean, Potter's worse than I thought he'd be. When we hired him, I thought he's going to be boring. The football's going to be boring. The results are going to be boring. I thought everything was just going to be boring. I thought it was just going to be bland. I thought this season we'd finish bottom half of the table, but away from relegation, right? I thought it'd be boring. He's almost not good enough to be boring so far. It's worse than boring. Boring would be an upgrade on what we've got. And that's sad. That's a shame. I was hoping it would work out. Like I hope it would work out for every manager. I was never confident it would. I was confident it would be boring. But it's not even boring. So I've got no desire to see him sort of remain here. Like I said, the only reason I'm sort of Potter not arsed is just because of the lack of confidence in this board getting the decision right, getting his replacement right, backing that new guy correct. So I'm sort of like, what's the point with this lot in charge? What's the point? But actually, I think they've done the right thing. I think David Sullivan and Karren Brady have done the right thing this week, which is try and get Nuno quickly. Because I feel confident. I was obviously wrong about Potter. I was confident he'd be boring. And you could argue that's right. You could argue we were boring and crap, right? You can be both. Boring isn't a measurement of quality, it's a measurement of entertainment. So it's possible to be rubbish and boring. But I think with Nuno, I think it might be boring but good, results-wise. I think it might be boring, but we'll pick up the points. We'll get wins, we'll be more organised, we'll be defensively better, and I think we will stay up comfortably. Whether or not he's going to work his magic like he did with Wolves and Nottingham Forest to get back into European football, I feel like that's a bit of a stretch. But I do, if we were to sack Potter today and hire Nuno tomorrow, I would expect us to go on and finish, I don't know, 14th in the league or something like that. I'm quite confident he'd get some players like Jared Bowen playing back to his best ability. I think he'll sort of defence out. But I'm concerned about the centre-backs. If we get Nuno, that's my only concern in terms of the personnel makeup of the squad. But I think the board have to do something. And I've seen a lot of names linked to us this week. Gary O'Neill, Slaven Bilic, Sean Dyson. When I read them, I thought, I'm not sure about these. I'm not sure. I agree that change must be discussed as a minimum. But yeah, it's got to be the right one, hasn't it? It's got to be the right manager. I think Nuno's possibly the best available and the one that ticks their boxes with that Premier League experience and stuff. And clearly he's willing to come and work at West Ham United as well, which is a positive. And it does mean that we can move swiftly today if we need to. I just hope that what they've done now, because this has got leaked out, what they've done now is they've made it very difficult for Graham Potter. I think he's already at the point of no return. I think when you get to this point, you can't get back from this. Even if we beat Crystal Palace, I think Nuno's still going to be there waiting. And then we lose against Everton. Then what? Do we sack him then? Or do we give him the Arsenal game? What do we do? How long can you just leave Nuno waiting? Because I feel like he is now. I feel like Nuno's now waiting for Potter to get the sack. But like I said, in the meantime, other jobs will come up. He will be offered other jobs. And we may... This is the thing that cannot happen. This cannot happen. Now, arguably, ideally for the board right now, what's ideal for the board in terms of the managerial position? Graham Potter turns around. We win today, we beat Everton, we lose against Arsenal, we'll come back after international break and we pick up 9 points in 4 games because of the fixtures. It's important fixtures as well. We pick up 9 points. And someone's like, hey, what was everyone worrying about halfway through the season? We're mid-table. We're looking all right. We're all good. Things are good at West Ham. Brilliant. That's ideal for the board. But is it realistic? I would argue not. I'd argue that is unlikely. And I think they know it's unlikely, hence why they've just met up with Nuno this week. So what's the next best thing? Well, they've decided the next best thing is Nuno. Regardless of what me and you think, that's what David Sullivan, Karren, Brady believe, hence why they met up with him. They believe that he is the best replacement for Graham Potter. And if that's what you believe, I think you have to go get him. The worst thing that can happen here on in over the next 2-3 weeks, in my opinion, the worst thing that can happen is we draw today. They decide, let's give him the Everton game. And in the meantime, someone else comes in and gets Nuno. And then next week we'll get beat by Everton and go, right, we've got to sack him. But the guy we wanted is just gone. Someone else has had him. That's the worst. That is the absolute worst case scenario for this board. So far, well done to some extent of meeting up with Nuno, getting a replacement ready. And I think a lot of people are going to like it. I think a lot of people are going to hate it. I think the appointment of Nuno is really going to split fans. Because if you disliked David Moyes, essentially, the style of play, I think you're going to dislike Nuno. We'll discuss it in a bit more detail if he gets appointed. But I just think, I think this is going to 50-50, liking, disliking the appointment of Nuno. In regards to the game today, I'm not convinced we'll lose. I put us down for a 1-0 defeat. But looking at the Palace team, Mateta's, Glasner said he's knackered. Let's just take him at his word. Wharton's fit, which isn't good for us. And obviously set pieces, whilst I think Richards is a danger and the quad's good in the air, they're not as good tactically at set pieces as what Spurs were or what Arsenal will be in a couple of weeks' time. So there's definitely a chance. Arguably, this is a good time to play Crystal Palace in terms of personnel because Sarr's out. But it's a bad time to play them in terms of form. 16 unbeaten in all competitions. I think they They've won 18 of the last 32, lost 4 of those, but they've won 18 of 32. That's fantastic. That's an incredible record. So it's a difficult game. There's no doubt about it. I just hope this board, this is where they need to be decisive. To some extent they have been by meeting Nuno, but they need to know if we draw today, he's gone. And if that's the case, stick to it. And as soon as the game finishes and draw, let him do what he's got to do. And then, if anything, maybe even sack him before he does his press conferences, because the way they treated Lopetegui in the end. Now, I wanted Lopetegui replaced, right? I'm not going to pretend I didn't. However, I didn't agree with how they went about it. The Potter stuff got leaked, and they still just left it. And the club negotiated with Graham Potter whilst Lopetegui was taking training that week. And the worst thing about it was that Wednesday, I remember it being a Wednesday, everyone knew Lopetegui was getting sacked. Everyone. Graham Potter was there, just at a different... I think Lopetegui was at the training ground and Graham Potter was at the London Stadium at the same time. So whilst he was taking training, he was signing his contract and doing his media work. And the board let Lopetegui take training, go home, and then they rang him up and said, you're sacked. I think sometimes just have, business-wise, sacking Potter makes sense, but you can still have a human element to it, right? You can still care about upsetting people and conduct yourself in a professional way. And it's not something that you associate with this board. And I know people will go back to Avram Grant and they sacked him after the Wigan game and told him that he wasn't even allowed on the coach, and then Scott Parker had to go get him. But there's ways and means, and I just think if you're going to sack him, handle it correctly. Maybe don't let him just do his press conference, saying all these things about how we have to improve, then bang, later on he's sacked. Maybe it is the right thing. I don't know what the right thing is. Well, I do. Sacking him if we don't win today. Wait and see. Big day. Big day. Protest, match, potential sacking Graham Potter. Be an interesting day. One thing's for sure. It's going to be interesting later on to see what happens. Hopefully, do you know what? I hope we win. But this is possibly the first time ever. Sometimes over the years, I've seen people say, I hope we lose today because of X or Y or Z. Usually it's getting a manager sacked. Well, it's only getting a manager sacked, isn't it? I've never understood it. Never understood it. And I still won't understand some of them. I've seen some, there were some people hoping we lost in Prague because Moyes got the sack. And I will never, ever, ever get my head around that. I thought, what? You want us to lose a European final because you don't like the manager? I wasn't keen on him. But winning a trophy supersedes everything. But anyway, today's the day I sort of get it. Like I get it. If people said, I hope we lose today, so Potter goes and we get Nuno in, it's the first time possibly ever I'll get it. Now, I know people will be, whoa, West Ham to win. Of course, we all hope West Ham will win. But I think it's the first time I get it, why some people may want us to lose this match. Because they will believe Potter's out, Nuno's in. And a lot of times in the past when people have said that, I hope we lose because they'll get the sack. And then, yeah, but I don't think you'll get the sack. So it's like a null and void conversation for me. But actually, today's, I do believe, lose, out. West Ham. Never a quiet day, is it? Anyway, if you're going to the game, hope you enjoy it. Hope you have a fantastic one. Hopefully you witness 3 points. But if you're not, I'll be live at 1:55 on this channel with the build-up show and a watch-along. And if you would care to give me your company for the game and interact with me in the live chat, I would appreciate that a lot. So hopefully I'll see some of you at 1:55. Catch you in a bit.